I think the biggest issue that the a lot of churches are having to wrestle with is probably A, relevancy, and B, effectiveness, and C, a lack of genuine, true honesty and transparency about some of the problems within the faith and specifically the text itself.
Yeah.
I've learned that a lot of people that have left, a lot of people that are atheists, or at least agnostic, typically have a much wider, greater understanding for why it is that they don't believe anymore than for the people who are still in it and do believe. They have a much more in-depth understanding. Now, again, this isn't across the board. There are definitely exceptions to the rule. Certain pastors and certain leaders and people that are super, into religion, and specifically those that may be great at debates. Average layman, I don't think that they truly know what's in the book. What are contradictions? You've been raised and shown to be told they're not contradictions. And then what happens then is when somebody who acknowledges, no, they're contradictions, and yeah, this was added later, and there was politics involved in when these books came to be and which ones were included and which ones were like, when you start digging in the weeds of this stuff and really compare and contrast it to normal baseline standards of what we would expect for something to be considered reliable, it's totally reasonable for people to have legitimate questions or be like, this, some of these things are not what they appear to what we were taught or told to be. And so for me, again, when you get to a place just like with politics where you look at things from more than one angle, can understand how people can get there, it humanizes Christians, Muslims, atheists, agnostics. You now see people as human, number one, and it makes you way less arrogant and pompous in thinking that you know how to. Out of all the time that the earth has ever existed and humanity's ever existed on earth, you were just one of the lucky ones to get it right in terms of faith. You were born at a time in history where out of the billions and billions and billions on top of human beings, let alone other creatures that's ever existed, you were one of the lucky ones. You were probably one of the 1% to 2% that's ever existed since the earth has been here that got it right. And every single person that believes in a religion that's different from yours thinks the same thing. And when you start with that in a walk of humility, it helps you, honestly. And then the other thing is when I mentioned earlier about relevancy and effectiveness, a lot of these issues and questions for a lot of folks wouldn't even be that big or that deep, or people wouldn't even have that big of an issue with the church if it was more effective or even relevant. I think most people, not most, but a lot of people who have left, who've grown distant from it, it's not seen as relevant. It's not seen as effectual. It's seen as a wing of, especially in the Black community, as a wing of an extension of the Democrat Party. It's not seen as anything else. It's not life. It's not helping us to generate generational wealth. They're not taking our resources and some churches are doing that, to be fair. And I actually knew of a few that were doing that, but most churches weren't setting up their members that have been giving for 20, 30 years into affordable housing units. Yeah. Right. They're not buying acres of land to start growing food to, so it's a thing where it's like, effectiveness, relevance, those are probably their biggest issues. But then when we get to the meat of it, when you sit down with somebody who's really looked in on this stuff and does a 2-hour discussion on it,